are the Dolphins an elite team in the NFL? Can you say at, what are they, 5-1, I think? Can you say at 5-1 they're an elite team in the NFL?
I think they're one of the better teams in the NFL.
But you won't go as far as
I don't know
elite.
if I would say elite yet, but they could definitely go to a Super Bowl.
Currently constructed, they are a Super Bowl potential Super Bowl team.
But until I don't give teams the elite tag until they do it more consistently.
So who's elite? Kansas City obviously
City's
is elite.
Philadelphia is elite.
Buffalo, is Buffalo elite?
No, a notch below. I would say the 49ers, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl,
they got
exposed
a little bit though last week, right?
If that kicker makes the kick, does anyone crush them for that game?
Yeah,
no,
maybe
because
not.
They win. So, and you lost. Put it this way:
any team that loses key guys, especially somebody as good as Christian McCaffrey.
When Brock Purdy was rocking out with this Brock out, and all those 49ers fans were like, "Oh, he's going to be an MVP candidate," I was like, "No. He's a system. That is a system quarterback that maybe one day turns into a franchise quarterback." And notice once Samuel gets hurt, once McCaffrey gets hurt, Brock Purdy didn't look as awesome as he's been in previous weeks.
Is Tua an elite quarterback in the NFL?
Closing in on it.
What more do you need to see? Just dubs?
Dolphins fans aren't going to like this. Got to stay healthy throughout the entire season.
That's fair.
And concussions, I think Leroy Horde said this perfectly the other day. They are fluky injuries because we see guys get hit just as hard as Tua got hit, and they get up and they're there for the next play. It's just, something out of your control, really.
But that's all. That's not on the field stuff. You've seen enough on the field accuracy.
Oh yeah.
Ability to stand in the pocket. He's an elite quarterback. If he could stay healthy, he'll be one of the NFL's elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the way that I kind of describe an elite quarterback, two things. If you're driving with 2 minutes left, do I feel as if bare minimum you're going to tie up the game or go win the game? And the other thing, if it's third down, you don't even tell me the distance. Do I feel sitting on my couch that quarterback is making the play no matter who they're going up against, what offensive lineman they're missing, what wide receiver they're missing? And that's a big question. And so far throughout the year, when Tua has the ball, I feel pretty damn confident about the Dolphins.
They debated it on First Take. Who would you rather have as your quarterback? I can give you one right now.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa?
I would probably go Jalen Hurts, though.
Now, everyone on the First Take panel, I think, except for Hugh Douglas, maybe, Crowder took Tua. I took Tua. Now we're probably being homers. I think everyone on the panel had taken Jalen Hurts except one. It may have been Hugh Douglas.
Marcus Spears.
Was it Marcus Spears? It was Marcus Spears. What about Justin Herbert?
That's a good one. Before the season, I would have said Justin Herbert.
Everyone would have.
Right now, I have to go Tua because if you're going to tell if the argument's going to be, oh, well, Tua has too many weapons, it's more of the weapons. Justin Herbert has enough weapons in Los Angeles, and they're not getting the job done. I would go Tua right now over Herbert.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor.
You watched him last night.
Yeah. It's just
elite.
I'm not ready to say elite yet, but this guy's basically only been in the league for 2 years because the first year he had Urban Meyer coaching him and he was just miserable. And then last year he was in the second round of the playoffs with an actual competent coach in Doug Peterson. I do think I would buy more into it long-term with Trevor Lawrence than I would Tua, and I think the injuries factor into that.
Joe Burrow, no question.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Josh Allen, no question.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
All right. Dak Prescott, you would take Tua.
Oh, absolutely Tua.
All right.
Come on.
Gave that to Crowder. That was a gimme. Sometimes you got to give a gimme here and there.
Yeah.
So who are the elite quarterbacks then? It's Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Allen, and then I think everyone else is fighting. Lamar Jackson has looked elite going back to that unanimous MVP season. They still have not gotten him a legit number one wide receiver. But I think for that fifth spot with now Rodgers out for the season, you have a lot of people pulling at Superman's cape of those other four names. And Tua, to his credit, right now has a chance to be, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
What do you think happens Sunday night in Philadelphia, Dolphins and Eagles?
Tough spot, tough environment to play in. I lived in Philly in 7 years. Those fans are crazy, and you give them an entire day to get ready. Yeah, that's going to be a big-time game. I think the Dolphins win by a field goal, though.
You do?
Yeah, I like the Dolphins in this game because of their speed. And the only thing that concerns me is the Eagles are coming off a loss. The Eagles haven't played their best football yet. They still only have one loss in the season. Looks like Lane Johnson is going to play in the game. I saw he was limited in practice, which is a big loss if he was not able to go. I just have a feeling this is going to be a slugfest back and forth. And I woke up this morning, I kind of felt as if Tua has the ball late and they get it into field goal range and they hit like a 47-yard winner.
And so then how would you explain what happened against Buffalo earlier in the season with the Dolphins? Just ran into it. I mean, anyone can win any given week in the NFL.
You know what I'll compare it to? Not that they had this much success against the Buffalo Bills, but the Bengals, for example, beat the Chiefs 3 times in a row. And then last year, after they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, they're like, Mike Hilton said, we're going to Burrowhead when they were going to Arrowhead, and their hubris caught up to them in that spot. And it was a close game, and Mahomes had the ball last, and they ended up winning the game even with the ankle injury. I think the way that they played the Bills the last 3 times, where they won one in Miami and they lost the other 2 in Buffalo, but they were close games, and you had Skylar Thompson starting. I thought there was just a little bit too much of an overconfidence with that team that they owned the Buffalo Bills and they had the Buffalo Bills, and then Buffalo said, not so fast, my friend.
Now, let me just shift over to the NBA because obviously you've got a show to do for CBS Sports Radio. First of all, you watching what's going on with James Harden in Philadelphia? That's been one of our storylines that we follow. He wasn't going to participate.
He's a loser.
Then he was participating. He's disappeared from the team again.
He doesn't care about winning. I'm sure he'll eventually get his way where he goes to Los Angeles Clippers. But if
you think he will get his way?
Yeah, he always gets his way. And he'll scream, he'll pout, he'll cry, he'll whine, and he'll eventually be enjoying the LA strip club scene. But if it's not to the Clippers, who else is going to want this guy?
I don't know.
And so far, really, like no one else has come calling.
Because I just wonder if it kind of reset with Damian Lillard, saying specifically, I want to go to Miami, and the team essentially saying, we'll send you anywhere but.
Well, the GM of Portland, Cronin, had a backbone. Daryl Morey, I don't think, has a backbone, and they had such a close relationship where even after James Harden goes to China and says Daryl Morey is a liar, I'll never play for him again, he's still not even crushing James Harden, which I would just be taking a blowtorch to his career.
Well, but then you kind of take a blowtorch to one of your assets.
You're not getting anything back for this guy anyway.
You think he's washed?
No, I think he is just someone that doesn't prioritize basketball enough, and I think he is someone that cares more about off the court than on the court, and he's good in the regular season. He'll show up for a game or 2 in the postseason, and then he's just a losing player come playoff time.
What do you think happens with the Heat this season? And I don't know if the regular season matters anymore because we have definitive proof last season for the Heat. It didn't. They were in the play-in tournament and almost got bounced.
Yeah.
And come back and they win against the Bulls, and then all of a sudden they're in the NBA Finals. But, like I mentioned, you lose Gabe Vincent, you lose Max Strus. Tyler Hero, the entire offseason, probably thinks he's going to be playing for a different team. And then you've got, Udonis Haslem, who was an on-court leader, even though he was on the bench. He's no longer on the roster. You've probably got Jimmy Butler maybe wondering a little bit.
Emo Jimmy.
Kind of thought I was going to have a little more help this season. We thought that, and not that the Heat did anything wrong with Damian Lillard because they came strong, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was Joe Cronin saying, I'm not going to deal with them.
I agree.
So what do you think happens with the Heat? And do you think it matters? Because when you have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and a healthy Tyler Hero come postseason, it's not a bad threesome.
The Heat are always a team you don't want to face, but since they didn't address getting that finisher in there, I just don't think they're going to win a championship. I look at Milwaukee. As long as Giannis and Dame stay healthy, they will be my pick to come out of the East. And then if they're not able to be healthy, I know you're relying on Drew Holiday getting up there in age and slowed down towards the end of last season after a really strong start last year, and Kristaps Porzingis to stay healthy to complement Tatum and Brown. Those 2 teams are better right now constructed on paper than the Miami Heat.
Where do you have the Heat, though, in the pantheon of the East?
Probably 3.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be 3 when the regular season ends,
right?
Because the regular season just doesn't matter to the Miami Heat. But who else is better? You going Philly? You're gonna tell me Cleveland? I think is an intriguing team, but I don't think they're ready to go win a championship. It's not the Knicks.
Yeah, it's like,
right?
Yeah, I don't know. I love Joel Embiid. I really do.
I love Joel Embiid too. We used to go out to the same bar when I was living in Philadelphia. I'd always see him out there, and his security crew, anytime someone tried to take a picture, would like get a flashlight right up in your face. Joel Embiid's tremendous, but Joel Embiid in the closing moments of playoff games comes up small, and that has been overshadowed because of all the incompetent Robins that they've brought in to compliment Batman in Philadelphia.
So should Heat fans be concerned at all about this roster in the regular season? Or can we always just take solace in the fact that, listen, when it's postseason and you get playoff Jimmy, you're fine?
So the standards of this organization are sky high because of what they've done the last 15, 20 years or so. If I'm a Heat fan, I'm not concerned, but there is a feeling that I have of, man, yeah, we're not going to win a championship. We'll be really good, but we know since we didn't get Dame, it's like exhale all the air out of the balloon. And if Tyler Hero, I'm sure, starts off the season in wonderful fashion, the first 20-something games, and is killing it, then maybe you hear the peppers grow a little bit louder and play a little bit louder, and you get Solana pushing like a Heat championship.
Did they do anything wrong in their pursuit of Damian Lillard? Now that we've read all the accounts and we've read Adrian Wojnarowski's account of it, and we have the sides, because there's really two sides to it.
What else could they have done, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did they do anything wrong?
No, I don't think they did anything wrong.
They met up with someone who was not going to acquiesce to Dame Lillard's demand, period, end of story.
Which is kind of surprising because of how long Damian Lillard stayed loyal to Portland. But I can't really crush what Portland ended up getting back for him. But when you look at
they
the
kind of owed it to him, though, didn't they? I
don't believe in that nonsense.
I mean, if you're a good soldier and you're a good employee, doesn't your employer owe you something when it's all said and done?
If
when
my
it's coming to an
employee
end,
was paying me $45-50 million a year, you know what? However they want to treat me at the end, God
I
bless
get
you.
it. No, I get it. I'm not saying that he should be miserable and
They sent him to Milwaukee. That's a heck of a destination for him.
But now when you want to go to Miami and you want to play with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, like you've made it clear.
Well, let me ask you this. What gives you a better championship? Giannis with Dame or Jimmy with Dame?
But here's the thing. I don't think that they were doing Dame a favor by sending him to Milwaukee. I think it's an unfair question.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Cronin's not trying to put him in the best position. He's just trying to get the best return.
Yeah.
And I thought the return was pretty commensurate.
Yeah. No,
from Miami. So I don't buy into that. Ultimately, does it seem like an easier path to a championship for him? Probably with Giannis, but Miami had no problem disposing of Giannis.
Yeah, so there's nothing else the Heat could have done, but I understand where a fan's going to be like, they didn't get Damian Lillard, so it's on the organization. But I don't think that's actually true. That's on the organization.
Well, I think everybody down here probably feels, and certainly when we went through it when it was going on, I think everybody was pretty secure that the Heat did everything they could. They didn't lowball Portland in any way. They made fair offers. It just became very clear that Cronin wasn't putting them there.
Like I know the New York fan, the Philadelphia fan is different than the Miami fan. But when Damian Lillard comes here for a game this year, what's the reaction?
I don't know. I think
he wanted to come. It's not his fault.
I think he's going to be embraced. I think he's going to have a I don't think he's going to get booed every time that he touches the ball,
They're going to do a tribute video for his time with the Heat?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it was a done deal. I mean, we had pundit after pundit on.
I was one of those idiots.
You were one of the guys.
Came on. I'm like, this is inevitably going to go the Heat's way where they're getting Damian Lillard.
There's not a single person who said, I don't see.
Screw you, Cronin.
Some people said it might not happen till the trade deadline, but everyone was of 100%. Very rarely can you find unanimity in sports talk radio.
Well,
it was 100% that he will end up in Miami.
I don't need to advise you how to do radio. You've had a very successful career, but I think there should be a certain afternoon host here on 560 WQAM whenever Portland comes to town that demands for that coward Cronin to show face at whatever you call the building now down
the
here.
Kaseya Center, and that dude's not showing up down here.
He better be like Bob Myers in Sacramento when the fans are ringing the cowbells behind him.
The weird thing is, I don't know what he had against the Heat organization. Like, he really, like, it.
Some guys just don't like to get told what to do.
No. I get that. I get that. And I get it.
There's BDE. For him, he may have felt a little insecure what was going on.
Which is fine. I thought he played it well. He slow played it. He didn't just pull the trigger and send him to Miami because Dame requested it. I thought he slow played it fine.
Yeah.
And at the end, he could have sent him to Miami and said, listen, we waited a couple of months. We made sure we had every offer. We dotted all our I's, crossed all our T's. and we ended up extracting more from Miami. He could have said it however he wanted. We ended up extracting more from Miami than they had planned on giving us. Like, I thought he had a perfect off-ramp to actually send Damian Lillard to the Heat and save face for himself and said, I did everything right, because what they were initially offering was not appropriate. And because we waited and shopped them, we got a haul that we think was deserving.
And you know what? Maybe the Heat, looking back at it, they just should have waited to get involved in all this stuff.
Maybe.
But like, I don't think that's the way you should operate business. I think you should pounce at the opportunity. But maybe looking back at it, if Dame just said, I wanted to go to Miami, and Miami just never called, and then Portland called and said, okay, let's try to get this deal done, maybe they would have ended up getting him there. But I can't crush Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra for doing their due diligence and getting on the phone to try to get this deal done early.
All right, Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio Network. You've got the Dolphins beating the Eagles.
Yes.
Canes beat Clemson.
Wait, I'm going on Philly later. I think I got to take Philly. No, I'm just kidding.
Canes beat Clemson Saturday night.
You think I don't like James Harden? I despise Dabo Swinney for the last 2
He's
years.
not likable.
Ugh.
The whole NIL
he
thing.
loved when his program was winning. Now, a little criticism.
Yeah.
Oh,
very prickly.
We need fans to jump off the bandwagon, and we need to start losing. So go Canes, go 7th floor crew. But I probably think Clemson wins the game.